When the Democrats take control of the House of Representatives, they will have to decide which committee will investigate President Trump's dealings with Saudi Arabia, especially in the aftermath of the murder of Jamal Khashoggi by the Saudi government inside the Saudi consulate in Turkey. The Trump administration announced sanctions today against 17 Saudis for the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, including a close aide to the Saudi crown prince, who has said that he never acts without the crown prince's direct approval. But the sanctions did not include the crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman. The announcement came as Saudi Arabia said it will seek the death penalty against 5 Saudis indicted for the murder. Turkey's President Erdogan has continued to imply that he has evidence linking the Saudi crown prince to the murder. NBC News, in important reporting today, found that the Trump administration developed a plan to help the Saudi crown prince by doing a very big and very illegal favor for Turkey's president. The White House reportedly asked the Justice Department to figure out how to legally expel from the United States Fethullah Gulen, an opponent of the Turkish president, and send him back to Turkey. Mr. Gulen has a legally obtained green card, the same permanent resident status that Melania Trump had in the United States before she became a citizen. Mr. Gulen has lived legally in Pennsylvania for 20 years. The Trump White House has been trying to find a way to help send him back to Turkey, where he would surely be imprisoned and possibly put to death after some kind of show trial. The White House wanted to send Mr. Gulen to Turkey, even though the Justice Department found that he had broken no laws in Turkey, no Turkish laws. The White House had been trying to find a way to extradite Mr. Gulen to Turkey to face charges of helping to organize a coup against President Erdogan. According to NBC News, quote, Trump administration officials then asked for other options to legally remove him. A senior U.S. official involved in the process described the reaction among career officials at the Justice Department, saying, quote, at first there were eye rolls, but once they realized it was a serious request, the career guys were furious. Joining us now is former Ambassador Robert Jordan, former U.S. ambassador to Saudi Arabia from 2001 to 2003 in the Bush administration. He is the author of Desert Diplomat. Ambassador Jordan, your reaction to NBC News reporting on what the Trump White House seemed to be trying to do with the Justice Department?
Lawrence, this is a horrendous story. It's almost mind-boggling that this administration would try to extradite or send back to Turkey someone who's been living here for 20 years peacefully in a small town in Pennsylvania, and against whom there is no credible evidence that he's committed any crime, particularly a crime that would be considered a crime within the United States, which is part of our extradition lore and judicial interpretations. I think it's really important for us to take note of this. This guy should not become a bargaining chip in some game, some monopoly game that this administration is playing with the Saudis or with Turkey. Michael Flynn was very interested in trying to accomplish the same thing for Turkey. Since he's cooperating with the special prosecutor, he may have told Robert Mueller, after pleading guilty to Robert Mueller, he might have given him more information about exactly what the whole history is of this. Chuck Schumer said this tonight: I hope this story isn't true. It was a bad idea when General Flynn proposed it, and it's still a bad idea. U.S. residents should not be used as pawns to appease foreign leaders who flout the rule of law. Donald Trump should confirm that this will not happen. Ambassador Jordan, I think we can be sure that Donald Trump will not be confirming that, or probably just stay completely out of this story. Talk about the tensions that exist and that you experienced as ambassador to Saudi Arabia, the Saudi versus Turkey tensions that you see at play in this story. Well, let's remember that Turkey is not really an ally of the United States, even though they're a member of NATO.
They have frustrated us at many turns, including when we were planning to invade Iraq in 2003. They refused to allow the 4th Infantry Division to come through Turkey into northern Iraq. They are proposing to purchase the Russian S-400 missile defense system, which is designed to shoot down our F-35s. At the same time, they're trying to buy F-35s from us. So let's remember, they are not our ally, and there is no U.S. national interest at stake here, unless there's an ulterior motive. And that ulterior motive may be to curry favor somehow with the Saudis in the Khashoggi affair. And if so, that's really a nefarious ulterior motive that I think needs to be condemned. We have got to find a way to deal with the Saudis. I found this after 9/11. It's very difficult to deal with a regime that gives no real credence at all to human rights, women's rights, religious freedom. And at the same time, you have to find a way to cobble together some kind of working relationship, even though your values are quite different. But this really goes beyond the pale. When you have essentially a rogue regime now, or at least rogue actors within Saudi Arabia, which could include the Crown Prince, somehow manipulating this administration into somehow making this Gulen figure a trading chip in some really black, awful kind of devil's bargain here.
Ambassador, it sounds like in order to help the Saudis after their murder, assassination of a dissident, they want to help Turkey possibly do exactly the same thing through a more formal legal process and kill one of their dissidents. That seems to be the trade that the Trump administration has been trying to broker.
He would certainly be at great risk of his life and certainly his freedom if he were sent back to Turkey. And again, what's the evidence that suggests that he should be sent there? There is really nothing that we know of. 2 years ago, the administration looked at this. They decided not to extradite him. Anything else that they tried to cobble together to figure out a lame excuse to remove him, I think would be a green light to dictators and authoritarians all over the world. If you've got someone within the United States that you want back, just make a deal with Donald Trump. That is not what America stands for.
Ambassador Robert Jordan, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Lawrence.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.